Hello, everybody. Hi, Taranjeet. Welcome. Welcome to
Hi, Mui
in
Han.
the room. How's everybody
Thank
today?
you.
How are you, Taranjeet?
Very good. Very good. Very good, my friend. Very good. We have a excellent episode in front of us today. It's going to be quite intriguing.
Correct.
We've
Today
got
is
two
a special
students
edition.
who are graduating today.
Yep.
Yes, indeed. Please share with us, Mui Han.
Okay. So, like I was announcing throughout I think since end of last week or Thursday, we are having a very special show today. So with that, we will do things slightly different today. And we hope that we can get everybody's participation, especially if you are tuning in. So when we tune in, there are two groups of people. There's first group of people who is our normal audience, which is the professional managers as well as business owners. So today we are asking you not to be the passive listener. We are asking you to be an active contributor because we will also have another group of audience, which are the fresh graduates and the final year students tuning in. They will be asking a lot of questions on career planning, how's the situation in the industry, what they can do and things like that. And we will invite all the professional managers and business owners tuning in to answer on behalf. So it doesn't need to wait for myself or Taranjeet to answer these questions. You can answer on behalf. So just for instance, we have this girl, Divya, who is attending class. So she asked two questions here. So any professionals out there, which you, if you're kind enough, you can address her concerns or her questions straight away, without waiting for both of us. So that is how different we are running it in that sense. Also, very quickly, I just wanted to maybe share a few slides before we proceed. Just let me pull this out very quickly. Sorry.
So whilst we're waiting for Mui Han, it's been interesting to see how we have come to where we are. The last couple of weeks has been spent talking about the regional areas, talking about sectorial focus. And this week we've thought to ourselves, look, it'll be really interesting to hear what some of the pain points are. What are some of the pressure points that are currently going through the minds of the graduating class for 2020? And that then led to where we are today. And it is amazing that we've got two outstanding individuals who are going to be joining us today. Mui Han?
So we started this process of recruitment since last Thursday, and we sent out to as many people as we could, especially those we are knowing are graduating this year. We gave them an application form, and based on that application, the simple thing is they needed to record to us a 60 seconds video of themselves, a self-introduction video. And over the course of the next few days until the weekend, we decided that these are the two ladies that we are featuring today because their videos are just outstanding. We will share them in a short while. But wanted to also do a shout out to all those who have applied for this. So I think I personally sent out about more than 50 private messages on my LinkedIn. And of the 50, besides the two ladies, there were 8 applicants. All right. So a quick shout out to all the 8 people who have applied. All right. First, we have Shakifa Shahir Anwar, who's doing a bachelor's in English with communication. She's from UNISA. Thank you for applying, Shafika. We also have Siti Asno Ashar. She is from USAS, Unity Sultan Aslan Shah. She's doing the bachelor's of counseling. Also wanted to credit Yong Jiawei. Yong Jiawei is from currently Monash University Malaysia. He also is pursuing a bachelor's in business and commerce. We have Nurul Afika. Nurul Afika is doing a bachelor's of corporate administration. She is from UITM. As well as we have Indu Devi. Indu Devi is all the way from University Malaysia Police UNIMAP. She, I think, is doing a bachelor's of new media communication. And lastly, we have Ang Wei Chen. Ang Wei Chen is from UTM. He is doing a bachelor's of science in industrial mathematics. All right. So these are all our applicants who took the trouble to apply for this show, and we thank you for your participation. So with that, we wanted to jump into our show. Before that, very quickly, some rules. So for those undergraduates, if you are tuning in, please type an S with your question, before your question. so that our professional managers can help to answer them for you, right? So besides me and Taranjeet giving our inputs, we also invite our audience who are the professional managers to answer. So based on the tab that we have shown you, the examples, before you ask your question, just put a bracket S to show that you are a student. And for all our professional managers and business owners out there, we would really, really invite you to help us to provide inputs to our guests, as well as to provide inputs to all the students who are asking questions in the comments. So don't need to wait for me and Taranjeet to prompt you. Go ahead. We need you to help them. I have a few friends coming in to really do that, and I'm really, really appreciative of all your help. And I really invite the rest to join us so that we can have a maximum benefit session today. All right. So with that, Taranjeet.
Sure. So, well, there's a lot of productivity related stuff that we need to do, which is great, Mui Han. Thank you for that. So the first person we're going to have, and we're delighted to have her with us, is Xian. Xian is coming in from Sarawak. She's from Unimas. And I'm not going to talk about her. She's going to talk about herself. Would you want to put on the clip, Mui Han?
Yeah.
Hello. You know what? My resume and LinkedIn profile don't say anything about me. Before this, let me introduce myself. My name is Xian and I am from Sarawak, Malaysia. So I was a super introverted person during my secondary school life, until the fact that I don't dare to interact and communicate with the others. So once I enter university, I feel like this is a time for me to change and prove myself that I am able to do it. So I took up challenges like joining activities and even organized lots of school activities in my universities. And one of the most memorable ones would be TEDx related activities in my state is called TEDx Kenyalang. Starting from a small volunteer, I developed throughout the years and become one of the committees during last year. So this shows how much dedication I put in joining a lot of activities in order to gain experience, but most importantly, to actually make my parents proud of myself. But it doesn't mean that I slack out from my academic studies. And the second thing is, when I talk about volunteer just now, I always believe that it's important for us to actually contribute back to our society, our community. That's why I also joined Befrienders in order to help those who are having suicide thoughts, suicidal ideation. And my final year project is also related to a topic about this, because I believe that this topic, suicidal thoughts topic, have been like a really important issue to be concerned about throughout the years, even during these critical issues. And last but not least, the more you know about me, the more you will be surprised. That's all from me. Thank you.
Okay. So would
nice.
you kindly join me to invite Xian to the show?
Hi. Hi, Mui Han. Hi, Taranjeet.
Welcome. Welcome, Xian. Welcome. So let's start it off. Let's start it off very quickly. Tell us about yourself. How are things going on in Sarawak right now?
In Sarawak, I think it's improving. Like the
how are things in Sarawak?
The cases for COVID-19 are reducing. We have like 0 cases to 1 cases, new cases these past few days. So I'm glad that we're improving in that, and we are going back to the normal state we are having. Yes.
Great. So maybe just before we get you to ask your first question, wanted to ask what are currently you feeling right now? How's your feeling? Not only just on the show, but maybe in this period, as well as in the coming months.
For the show, of course, it's like a little bit nervous, but in this MCO period, I'm a bit calm and fortunate because I get to go back to my home with my family. So with them, I feel a little bit calm, and I just decided to take this time to actually improve myself, taking online courses and so on.
Great. And just to clarify, Xian is calling in all the way from Miri, right? You are in Miri, right? Good. So let's jump into your question, your first question for us and for the audience. If
Okay. For my first questions, it is so I'm currently studying psychology and actually planning to seek for internship on clinical psychologist because I'm interested in it. So is it possible to have an online internship in this field or even in other field for this current moment?
Okay, so my personal perspective is this. I think psychology is a very interesting area of study, and in our line of work, especially in human capital, we meet a lot of colleagues and friends and even practitioners in the field of psychology. So I may not be the right person to comment about clinical psychology. That's why I think I got Mian to come on. So Mian, maybe you can put in your comments your advice for Xian as we talk about. But personally, if you're asking me in the areas of corporate and business, there's a lot of opportunities, either in the human capital consulting space, as well as in companies in the areas of HR, as well as their talent, because generally the people business or the people agenda is very big in corporates in that sense. So that's one big area you can explore for your internship with your degree in psychology. And to the question of whether you can be done virtually, I think in the next 6 months, so you're fortunate because I think your internship only starts in January, so you're about 6 months. In the next 6 months, organizations and companies will sort themselves out in relation to virtual internship. So there's a lot of discussion happening now in the companies, and we will soon will have a clearer direction. But I think this is something we will all grapple with and to proceed that. But maybe in terms of clinical, then maybe we can get people like Mian to come on to help. Or anybody out there who's an audience who is also familiar with clinical psychology can contribute your inputs, okay? So, yes. Before we get it to further down, just wanted to really talk about the first question that raised even before the show. So I think there's some answers being churned out. So for those of you, you can just directly reply to Divya as we go along. All right. And if you have inputs for Xian on the first question about practicing clinical psychology, please also put it in, especially if you're from the background. Okay. So I think Mian have done something. Okay. So she actually said that clinical psychology is definitely last 2 months of many clinicians doing. So yeah, so it is possible. It is possible. So this is something for you to explore. Your second question, Xian?
Okay. Thank you for your answer then. So thank you, Mrs. Mian Dr. Mian for answering my questions. Okay. My second question is just wondering if like there's one scenario when you think you are qualified for all of the aspects, but you do not get the job in the end and also maybe not call for an interview, is it advisable to actually straight away approach the company personally to kind of like promote yourself and also to prove that you're capable to get the job?
Okay, that's I love the enthusiasm there, Xian. So there are several things that you need to be mindful of when organizations enter into a recruitment drive. There are certain steps and processes that have to be followed, and all this is part of a very complex way of how companies work. There are also particular criteria that individuals need to meet for those roles that individuals have applied for. And the fact that sometimes we don't get the type of answers or responses that we would like doesn't mean that they have ignored us altogether. What it does mean is we may not necessarily meet those criteria specified. Now, bearing in mind that we've got tons of students applying at the same time. Now, ideally, some of the more progressive organizations will send out a note to say, thank you very much for your application. You have been unsuccessful for whatever reason. Some organizations don't, for whatever reason. And if they don't, I don't think it's worth our while to follow up I don't think it's worth our while to follow through, simply because for me, it also shows the type of obligations that you have to people who are applying to you. So if you don't take the effort to at least acknowledge, it says a lot about the type of thinking that the organization has. So in response to your question, should I follow up? Well, you could follow up after a nice, reasonable time, whatever that means. But do I go out there to publicize myself or to position myself? Maybe not. Simply because they would already have thoughts around what type of roles and the ideal criteria for those roles. I hope that clarifies that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the answer.
Okay, we're also getting some inputs. I think this is from Dr. Michael from Singapore. So he says that sometimes it's best to let the job find you rather try hard to get the job which you think is yours. All right. Also, we get Vertika from India. Thank you, Vertika, for tuning in. I know you are very busy. Okay, so she says that it's going to be actually a new way of working for new grads, taking accountability, managing their need for recognition, communicating virtual appropriately, and a virtual way is going to boon a curse too as well. So yes, everything is going to be digital. And I think lastly, we have my good friend Ted Moy. Ted Moy say can try out recruitment firms for internship to learn about their process as well as to understand the market. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for contributing. Just wanted to quickly maybe just reiterate today's, we have a very special show on Elephant in the Room. We are hosting 2 fresh graduates from different universities. And we wanted you to help us to actually start to give some inputs to these fresh graduates. And for all the fresh graduates who are tuning in, please ask questions. No, this time is for you. This platform is for you. Please ask questions to all of us in the room, as well as also to all our audience out there who are, a lot of them are professional managers, business owners themselves. Just type your questions with an S in a bracket, and then we will get to you, or the audience will get to you. All right. So with that, maybe I'll just get we'll get Xian back on. I'll see you in a short while, Taranjeet. Yes, your last question for me, maybe?
My last question, I think, is quite a common general questions for all of those who are seeking for a job. So like sometimes when you think you're well prepared, but you still have those nervousness or maybe your mind gone blank during the interview. So what are the secrets to actually overcome those?
Okay, so I think one of the ways, if I will suggest, is actually practice is very, very critical. And I've been advocating this many times, but I think the understanding is still probably not there. Amount of awareness, I wouldn't say understanding, I think awareness, especially fresh graduates or undergraduates, because this is something that probably your lecturers wouldn't advocate as well. Having go to mock interviews actually is very important, because the more time you practice, the better you become. So we are a habitual creature, so the more we practice, we will improve on things. Therefore, I would strongly suggest that before you actually even apply for your internship, to make sure that you are prepared, do as much practice as possible via mock interviews, because that will help you to learn about your own feelings and emotions as you go along. And even if you stumble, it's just a mock, so you can choose to fail in that sense, right? So yeah, do practice. And one way of doing that to all the students out there, you can just put an open note to everybody on LinkedIn. There are many professional managers who are willing to share the time with you to do mock interview. So I would suggest that. I wanted to also highlight Damiri's point. I think was your first question on clinical psychology. So he has some background. So his simple answer to your first question is yes, there are plenty of opportunities. What companies are looking for is the skills and behavior needed to do clinical psychology rather than the degree itself. So AE, analytical thinking, data visualization, people awareness, and these are the things. All right. So with that, we thank you. We'll see you soon. Don't go away yet. All right. So we will welcome our next person to the stream, to our broadcast. So with us, our next person in line, as all you may know, is Elizabeth. Sorry, let me just get her name out right. So it's Elizabeth Lee from Monash University Malaysia. She's doing a Bachelor in Business and Commerce, majoring, I think, in Finance and Econometrics. Let me get her to introduce herself quickly.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth and I am a final year business student in Monash University. I am majoring in Finance and Econometrics and I hope to embark on a career related to my studies in the near future. Outside of studies and work, you'll find me hiking the jungle or even in the climbing gyms. You can find out more about my employment and educational history on my LinkedIn profile. Anyways, when I was 4 years old, my kindergarten teacher thought that I was deaf and dumb simply because I was so shy I didn't even talk in class. And she even advised my mom to seek medical help for me, which was put away because we couldn't afford it. Anyways, fast forward today, me being able to record this video and upload it on YouTube is an achievement I'm really proud of, and hence I'm seizing this opportunity and hope to be on the show this coming Wednesday. See you!
Okay, so would you kindly let me invite Elizabeth to the show? How are you, Elizabeth?
Hello. Hi. I'm super excited to be here today. I'm doing good. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, Taranjeet, all yours.
Yeah. So, Elizabeth, I think let's start off with your first question. Your first question, I think, is going to, because we are running out of time here, so I want to zoom straight in. What would be the question that you would ask us?
Okay, so I'm going to address this to Taranjeet. So I think that a lot of times as students, we are very concerned whether we can fit in culturally into a company because each company has a different culture. So what routines or habits should we develop to make us easily adaptable to wherever company that we go?
I love it. That's such an important question. All right. So you're absolutely right. Different companies exude different organizational climates and cultures, and we need to try and understand this to fit in. One of the things that worked out well for me is the notion of being open and transparent and adaptable. Many times going out with people in the organization itself, meeting up for after dinner drinks, meeting up for dinners, the informal discussions that you have is absolutely critical. The informal discussions during lunch, because that's when it becomes real, if you know what I mean. It becomes the genuine nature of individuals starts coming out. Why? Because they are a little bit less stressful than at work itself, at the work station. So a couple of things here. One, definitely be open to receive all these ideas. Definitely be adaptable, because that's what this is all about. But importantly, just go out there and have fun. That's my response to you, Elizabeth. Anything else? Mui Han, back to you, buddy.
Okay, your second question, Elizabeth?
Okay, I think this second question is more of like an add-on to the first question related to corporate culture fit. So many of my friends, we are all about to start our new jobs remotely. And we realize that employees usually have close ties among themselves, and sometimes it can be quite difficult for us to fit in. How do you recommend that we overcome these challenges to stay engaged with our work and not feel like we are so isolated from the virtual team?
Okay, that's a great question. So before I jump into it, I also invite the audience, especially our professional managers and business owners, please give your inputs to Elizabeth as well, all right? Besides our point, myself and Taranjeet. So I think this is a very, very pertinent question, and as well as very related in our current season. And you're right, moving on, many jobs will start on a virtual and remote basis as we talk about telecommuting and teleworking over the last few weeks as well. Even like places like PNB, Pemodaran National Berhad already announced working from home will be a permanent feature. right? So all these have its plus point and its minus point. Of course, the minus point, I think, is what you wanted to ask, which is the social interaction between you and your colleagues, especially you have a new fresh graduate entry level. That is actually being withheld. So I think it's important on two fronts. On one front, I think organizations are working among themselves to train their managers and also assistant managers to ensure that the new way working from home or working remotely, there are certain things you need to emphasize in terms of team leadership and team building. That is being done at the corporate level. But as an individual, I would really suggest this, and I do suggest this, whether you're working from home remotely or you're working in actual office where you see your boss day to day or your superior day to day, is always do a check-in on a weekly basis with your boss. And that check-in don't focus on work, because when we get into a job, we always tend to have this work conversation with our superior. Is what we need to do, when it's being done, is it done or not done, where is the thing. But maybe just time it. If you do it face-to-face, probably 2 weeks once is fine for half an hour. But if remotely, I will do it weekly, or maybe on a half-hour basis. Just check in with your boss and ask him or her, what are the things that he or she thought that you have done well over the last week, or what are the things that needed to be improved, as well as what are the few things that he or she could suggest to you for you to have a better fit in the company. So that helps to build what we call a coaching or career conversation very upfront. And where having that conversation, then you're able to build better relationship and bonds. And this question, you don't need to just do it directly with your immediate boss. You can also do it with your seniors and peers or your senior peers in the organization. That all helps to build relationship. And as what Taranjeet said, you can actually also start to ask if you have opportunity for networking in that sense. Okay, so let's get you to do your third question.
Okay, sure. Thanks for the answer. I really appreciate that. The last question, I'm going to address it to Taranjeet. So we all always, in our thoughts, we always have that mindset that the grass is always greener on the other side. And a lot of my friends also, we are planning to seek employment abroad. Do you have any advice on this? How do you recommend us to do it, or how we should go about it?
No, I think that's a brilliant idea. It's absolutely a brilliant idea, but several things play out. Each jurisdiction has their own requirements, whether you're coming in as an accountant or you're coming in as a corporate investment planner. You've got your own requirement, or a lawyer in the case that I am. So we need to be very clear. Do we meet those minimum requirements? In the same way as before we bring in people here, we then ask ourselves, don't we have our local boys here or girls that will be able to do this work? We ask ourselves that as a first point of reference. So what's different that we can bring to the table? What's the differing thought process that we can bring to the table even before we start thinking about moving to the next country? This is critical. So minimum requirements that we need to meet, and what would it be that I can bring in to the table that makes it different from the lower or rather the local students that we're looking at. So these are the two things I would look at, Elizabeth.
Okay, thank you so much. That's really insightful.
No worries.
So I wanted to share some of the things that our audience share with you, Elizabeth. This is Dr. Heng from Singapore. So he asked you, or he advised you, to be open-minded, listen, observe, non-judgmental, make friends. All right, that's important. Be humble and talk to your seniors, how they have adapted into the changes, and get to know them well. We have another, Niven, talking about when you're in a new job, good to observe and understand your colleagues. Take time to build rapport and relationship. It's not about what you can prove, also about connecting with them, all right? We good friend Zorab say, remember corporate culture fit goes two ways. Your choice eventually, you have the choice, eventually the journey comes through or not. Important to align your purpose and values. So I think Zorab is just saying that when you're in there, you keep realigning to your own values and see whether it works. As much as we want you to be flexible and adaptable, but we don't want you to be fake. We want you to be authentic. I think that's enough. Sengbi has a good point. Sengbi asks you to divide and conquer, connect each individual personally, and get to know them, especially in this remote virtual space. Okay. Dimitri said, don't be afraid to ask help from your seniors. At the same time, don't be afraid of mistakes and open for feedback. Critical feedback and criticism is okay. Bernard, another good friend, say regular alignment of expectation both ways. So what you expect of me and what do they expect of you. Okay, cool. So I have just enough time for that, and thank you very much, Elizabeth, for joining us. Please don't go away yet. We'll see you back in a short while. Okay. So wow, Taranjeet, we really got a full show, and I think we have just blown our time. Thank you so much, all of you, all of our friends who come tune in to give all your inputs to our two guests. We really appreciate it, and as well as also taking time to answer some of the questions posted by the other graduates. Maybe a quick one. I know we don't have much time, but I still want to do this. What are the three things that maybe, or two things that you think we can quickly learn from today's session?
Sure. So I think the desire to be open and honest is one. And we are hearing this from people like Singbi as well as Michael. The opportunity that we have before us as a new graduate, we all were there once. As a new graduate, the world is your oyster. It's what you make of it. You are not limited by anything except yourself. That's the second one. And the third one that I take away is the level of enthusiasm that we bring as graduates. Keep that fire burning, because that is the spark that will keep you going for the rest of your journey. The moment that spark is mellowed down, we will have an issue. So keep it going. And I thoroughly enjoyed speaking to these two young ladies, and I'm very heartened that just the confidence that they exude. It's absolutely brilliant. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Mui Han?
Yeah, I also wanted to say that some people ask me, hey, how come you host just the two girls? No guys. Seriously, to start with, as you say, we only have 8 applications. And these two ladies truly are outstanding in both me and Taranjeet's assessment of it. And you can see it from their confidence. All right. We're going to get them to come in to pitch themselves in a short while. But before we do that, we just wanted to introduce our show for the next 2 days. Right. So tomorrow we have also another very interesting show. I'll get Taranjeet maybe just to quickly introduce who we are hosting tomorrow.
Sure. So we have the absolute delight of bringing in Laura and Mehram. Laura and Mehram are graduating students. Laura, I think, is graduating today from the university, or the Nazarbayev University out in Astana. She graduates with a master's in public policy, with an undergrad in languages. And Mehram, he was looking at chemistry and that whole sciences piece. So yeah, outstanding individuals, and they are kind enough to join us tomorrow to talk about the undergrad or the graduands journey in Astana, in Kazakhstan. And let's hear where they are coming from. How different is this expectations that they have? How different are the requirements that they have put for themselves versus where we are coming from here in Malaysia? It'll be intriguing to see the difference. So that's coming out tomorrow. And on Friday, I have the absolute delight, both Mui Han and I, to invite Nina Yassin. Nina is the CHRO, absolutely, the HRD for Equinas, Equity Nasional Berhad, a very dear friend of ours, a good ex-work colleague, and as well as a colleague right now. And so she's going to share with us some of her thoughts about what she sees playing out within this environment that we currently are looking at, and how this disruption started not 2 months ago, but several years back. Stay tuned.
Okay. So as we promised you, we will now invite the ladies out one by one to do their elevator pitch. So we also hope anyone out there who was watching this, and if you are in the market to recruit a fresh graduate, we certainly hope you consider our two ladies today, as well as if you are not recruiting, but also you can actually share it with people that you know is recruiting. So with that, I'll first get Xian to join us. And if you are ready, Xian, the floor is yours. Go.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Xian, and I'm studying psychology, and I'm from Unimas. So currently, I want to seek for an internship for next year, which is from January to June. And even though I said that I'm interested in clinical psychology aspect, I am also open to any opportunities which is not related to my field of study because I feel like I'm still young, so I want to try out more opportunities. And before this, I joined DITO, which is one of the new departments in Sam Darby Property, as an intern, doing data analysis for their events and also presenting interesting insight, which I found from my findings. And I am a person who is eager to learn more. Like during this MCO period, I feel like this is a time for me to actually improve and also sharpen my skills, even like AR or research work and so on. So I'm looking forward to join a dynamic team with cooperation and also critical thinking skills as their priority. Because I feel like it's so amazing to have people to interact with each other, to help each other, and to brainstorm together and create creative ideas, plenty of creative ideas. So last but not least, like what I say in my previous intro, the more you know about me, the more you'll be surprised. And let's get connected in my LinkedIn. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Xian. And next, I will get Elizabeth to come on board. All right. So we run the same process. Whenever you are ready, Elizabeth.
Thanks, Mui Han. Okay. Hello, my name is Elizabeth. I'm a final year business student in Monash University, pursuing a degree in finance and econometrics. I interned at Frost & Sullivan, Malaysia last December. I learned a great deal about research and consulting. There, I also discovered my passion in working on challenging business problems in a fast-paced environment. Prior to that, I also had a 3-month internship experience in Shopee, Malaysia, as a paid advertisement intern. I analyze data and recommend keyword advertisement strategies to maximize clients' ROI. Currently, I'm the internal vice president of a non-profit organization known as Financial Literacy for Youth Malaysia. I oversee production of research and journalism articles. My team and I, we are presently working to launch a new podcast and video initiative in July. My goal is to be an investment analyst after I graduate. You can visit my LinkedIn profile to find out more about my employment and academic history. Thanks and hope we get connected.
Okay, thank you. Let me bring Xian back. So with that, I know Dr. Heng asking, too short, maybe we should do a longer show for special edition. We will take that into consideration, Dr. Heng. So with that, thank you again to all our guests. You all been so wonderful. For those who purposely tune in, I really appreciate it. I see some of you really make the time and effort to help our two fresh graduate friends, both Xian and Elizabeth. And on the same note, I also want to thank both of them for really taking the extra effort to be on this. I really feel that it's not easy for a fresh graduate to come on board live to talk to two of us. We are not, we may not be the easiest people to talk to, as well as to really pitch themselves to an audience who's full of professional managers and business owners. So with that, thank you very much. Maybe one last word from you, Taranjeet.
Sure. I totally concur with Mui Han. Great stuff, young ladies. I think it's absolutely brilliant to have you on board. We see lots of comments coming out. Feel free to interact and connect with the individuals on the Facebook site. Get the interaction going, get the network going, and that's what this is all about. On that note, I thank you very much for staying tuned with all of us. This is to the viewers and to the respondents and the participants for today. Mui Han, back to you.
Bye. See you tomorrow.
Bye.